Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is renewing our commitments. And sure that we've all had commitments that we've made to ourselves or others that we have fallen short of from time to time. And we can create new opportunity and possibility for ourselves by renewing these commitments, making them anew. And we're going to talk about that today. So before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy out from your heart into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take our palms and press them together. Rub your palms together. Feel the tickling and the tingling and the sensation, all that friction, temperature, pressure, and all the tickling and tingling that occurs when you stop rubbing them together and allow all that sensation to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to be with you the day before Election Day. It is Monday, November 7th, and we're talking about renewing our commitments, making our commitments new again. And one of the obvious places to talk about commitments or renewed commitments is when we've made commitments to certain regimens. Maybe we've made commitments to exercise or to certain dietary plans or to meditate regularly, regular kinds of practices. And then our commitment wanes, and we might tend to make ourselves wrong and bad and have a whole bunch of self-judgment around that. And what we can do in those moments is to renew, create newly our commitments, to recommit. And one of the things that we get to look at when we've fallen off of commitments that we've had is whether we really had a commitment in the first place. Because a lot of times we will make commitments to things that we're truly not invested in. We'll say we'll go on a diet or we'll start a practice, but we're not in alignment with that practice. And then when we don't keep our commitment, then we have all kinds of judgments about ourselves as a result. And it can easily become a downward spiral. So let's look at how to be sure that we don't end up in that downward spiral, first of all. And second of all, how we can be committed to what we're truly committed to. And I just want to make a note that I'm not seeing any comments. So if you are commenting and I'm not responding, please understand that it's because I don't see your comments. So if you make sure to go to the Enlightened World Network Facebook page or YouTube channel, you can put your comments in there and I will respond to them when I see them. So renewing commitment. So I think so many of us look for excuses to beat ourselves up, to there you are. Good morning, Rosalind. Thanks so much for chiming in. Great to be here with you this morning. And we're talking about renewing commitments, making commitments new again. And really in the process of making commitments, also evaluating or recognizing the truth of our commitments. Are we truly committed or not? And oftentimes we fall into the trap of making commitments that we're not really committed to. And Rosalind says, yeah, vows to never let that happen again. Yes. And then when it happens again, it's an excuse for us to torture ourselves, beat ourselves up. And Rosalind says, then feeling guilty when they do. Yeah. So rather than feeling guilty, which is a lot of energy wasted, essentially, we can recognize that we haven't kept our commitment and renew our commitment or adjust it, recommit to something that we can commit to. And we are humans, so good morning, Bernadette. Welcome. Great to have you here with us this morning. We're talking about renewing commitments. When we don't meet the expectations that we've set for ourselves, or the commitments that we've declared. And the thing that is the bottom line of this conversation really is that we can start any moment anew. We can restart and reorient ourselves and have any moment be a pivot point, a transformation point, if we choose it. And that's kind of what we're talking about here when we're talking about renewing commitments. And on another topic, actually, I just want to say that today is the 1-year anniversary of Maggie's death. And you who've been with us for a long time knew Maggie. Maggie was my sweet, sweet, sweet little bird who was also a terror. She was a green cheek conure and one of the loves of my life. And she joined us on these broadcasts a lot. And it was 1 year ago that she died. And I just want to honor her memory because I know she brought joy to so many of you, and she brought tremendous joy to me as well. And so Bernadette says commitments of anything. Well, I think Rosalind says, Maggie Pooh, I love you. Oh, Maggie's very missed, Bernadette says. Yeah, she is. She is. Good morning, good evening, Gia. Welcome. It's so good to have you here with us. We're talking about renewing commitments and also making a tribute to Maggie's memory. Anyway, today is her 1 year, the 1 year anniversary of her death. So I just want to honor her life together. So when we're talking about renewal, starting something over or starting something again, recommitting. That's what we're talking about today, is that we can create new beginnings for ourselves. Rosalind says, not waiting for conditions to be present before making changes. Is belief needed to make a commitment stronger? Well, conviction, belief, I guess that's a really good observation, to I guess to believe that something's possible, and maybe a sense of conviction and emotional power behind the commitment, is something that certainly strengthens it. If we can feel a sense of alignment and a sense of intensity, emotional intensity, I think that definitely strengthens commitments. And I also, like the commitment, I'm never going to do that again. That's a complex kind of commitment because it's coming from shame or blame or grief oftentimes. And those kinds of declarations, those kinds of commitments are problematic. They're problematic in that they carry so much negative emotional weight. And often it's that negative emotional weight that provides the intensity of the commitment. But there are ramifications around that as well, that if that commitment is broken, there's all kinds of guilt and shame, maybe blame, and maybe there's just a rigidity around the commitment itself due to all the intense emotions too. So the point is to be making commitments that we're aligned to, and still that doesn't mean that we'll be able to keep those commitments all the time. And there may be a time when that commitment ought not be kept. And the rigidity with which we made it makes it, the decision not to keep it, fraught with all kinds of other emotions. So Bernadette says, is it a commitment to yourself to not travel backwards to the things in your life that were not compatible? I think it can be, maybe. So this is interesting, the way that we phrase these commitments, the way that we voice them. If we make a commitment to not do something, the way our brains work is that in order to not do something, we need to conjure the thing that we're declaring we won't do. It's sort of a form of reverse hypnosis or hypnosis, where if I say, don't do this, I'm first embedding, I have to figure out what it is that I'm not supposed to do before I don't do it, right? So the way that we articulate our commitments, the way that we voice them and declare them is a factor in how well we'll be able to honor them. You know, if it's, I'm not going to eat sugar, then eating sugar is present as long as we think of that commitment, for example. So what might be a healthier commitment, or a commitment that that would give us greater strength? Maybe I choose something over sugar, or if I'm craving sugar, I'm committing to eating this instead. Or you know, there's an art to crafting our commitments that we can really honor. We tend to try to restrict our behaviors and restrict our activities, rather than providing commitments that we can honor. So I had a client who was vaping a lot, and they said they wanted to quit vaping. And I said, okay, well, how about, don't worry about quitting vaping. Don't make yourself stop vaping, but can you commit when you do vape to actually be present to it and really enjoy it? Like, really, you can do it. Just really enjoy it when you do it. And what happened was the amount that they vaped cut down to maybe 1/10 of what they were doing before, because when they had been vaping before, it was an unconscious habit. And instead, they brought it to awareness. And in bringing it to awareness, then they had the opportunity to choose and to be present to it. And when they allowed themselves to really be present to it and enjoy it, then they didn't do it as often. And so it was kind of a win-win all around. They weren't restricting themselves, they were enhancing their experience. And then they also were at a choice point. So maybe instead of saying, for instance, I'm not going to eat sugar, is when I eat sugar, I'm going to just really, really enjoy it and be present to it, rather than going unconscious. You know, so with eating, I can eat whatever I want, and as long as I enjoy it, as long as I'm enjoying it, be present to enjoying it. I mean, that's another possible approach to see what happens, rather than giving ourselves more constraints, to give ourselves more positive engagement, you know, because we like the positives. So yeah, what else? Recommitting or renewing. I like the word renewing, making something new again. My computer just switched to, this is the weirdest thing. My computer just switched to another app. And I haven't been touching my computer. And it just opened another app. So bizarre. Anyway, I wonder what else in our lives besides commitments can we renew? Or what other things in our lives can we look at as commitments that we haven't perhaps recognized previously? like the beliefs that we have. What are the beliefs that we're committed to? What are the behaviors that we've been committed to that we haven't even recognized our commitments? So Bernadette says, it's anew. I we start something anew, to renew. So Kimberly says, I just logged on. I didn't have anything to do with it. Good morning. I'm not sure I understand. Is that your computer's doing things on its own as well? So I wanted to talk about this because I watched a video about there's a full lunar eclipse tomorrow. And I think it's supposed to be at like 2 or 3 in the morning in the, I don't know where, in the UK. I'm not sure what the time is in the US. And Kimberly says, yes, indeed, that the computer, I think, logged on by itself. Anyway, this full lunar eclipse is the whole process for the eclipse occurs over 6 hours. And it's supposed to be on November 8th, tomorrow, which is election day. So I'm here to remind you, please, 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 to make provisions and arrangements to vote tomorrow. This is a very, very, very important election. So please vote. And there's supposed to be all kinds of disruption and upheaval and surprises. So Bernadette says it's a full moon tomorrow also. So it's a full lunar eclipse, meaning the full moon is getting fully eclipsed. And the whole process from start to finish is something like 6 hours. So, you know, even without the eclipse, tomorrow would be an interesting day, being election day in the US. But with this eclipse and all the influences, it's likely to be an even more interesting day. So a day of disruption and change. So we get to renew our commitment to light and high energy and elevated awareness and to curiosity and connection. How about that? So renewing all of those commitments. And Kimberly says, love, love, love. Yes, we get to renew our commitment to love. Bernadette says, I'm going to wear my tinfoil hat. Interesting, interesting. So, and funny too. Yeah, so what kinds of commitments do you have that you would like to renew, to make new again? And I invite you to look and see, you know, what kind of worthy commitments you would like to renew or even strengthen, and take that into today and tomorrow. Maybe a renewed commitment to magnanimity, to patience and love and peace. So anyway, I think that's it for today. So I just want to say to you how much I appreciate our mornings together and the opportunity to be thinking about things in different ways. And Kimberly says, comment to self-care. Oh, commit to self-care and to keep moving forward. I love it. I love it. Self-care means caring for oneself, means compassion for oneself. So when we fall off the wagon, for instance, with commitments, to renew, to just recommit and get back on track and allow ourselves the grace to have our moments of indecisiveness or our moments of digression, and then just renew. So Bernadette says, my renewal of what I truly desire is stopped by someone who feels my desires differently. Well, so that's challenging, Bernadette, because somebody can't stop your desires. You get to choose what your desires are. And when we're talking about commitments, I think it's a different realm than just our desires. It's a hairy one anyway. And Rosalind says, just to double down, but at the same time, not to make it relentless, to evolve. Who am I really? Exactly. Exactly. To be compassionate toward ourselves when we're in the process. Bernadette, where are you? Bernadette's saying, have a fantastic weekend, everyone. It's Monday. It's Monday. Anyway, and Rosalind says, knowing who I am not. Yes, yes, yes. Like to recommit to our essence, to our alignment, to our growth, to our deep commitments. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to check out the other awesome programming on EWN One with the Earth, Enlightened World Living, and of course, Enlightened World Network. Until next time, so much